Hey guys, it's Miss Rouge. I wanted to make these videos to help keep y'all up to date. I know this is like a really crazy time and I miss everybody. Um, but I wanted to post these videos so that it would be a little bit easier for you to do your homework. I'm going to post the problems this week for you to do out of your book. I do suggest you do those. I'm going to try to collect them from you somehow. But next week I'm going to try to hopefully have some program arranged where you can submit your work online or do like little quizzes online. But for right now, this is what we're going to stick with these little videos and doing work out of the book. So I just want to recap what we did on Friday where we talked about parallelograms and what that means. So the definition of a parallelogram says it is a quadrilateral in which both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So if you look at this picture, it is a quadrilateral because it has four sides and the opposite sides are each parallel. So if we know that the opposite sides are parallel and we have a parallelogram, we also know then that the opposite sides are going to be congruent. So this side would be congruent to this one, and this side would be congruent to this side. Also, if we know that, opposite angles are going to be congruent. So if we know that this angle right here is x, then we also know that this angle would be x. And if we know that this angle is y, then we also know that this angle is y, because they're opposite. So the other important property of parallelograms is that consecutive angles are supplementary. Supplementary means that they add together to equal 180 degrees. And consecutive means they're side by side. So if you took these two angles, these x and y, they're consecutive, they're next to each other. So x plus y would equal 180 degrees. So if you knew only one of those angles, you could subtract from 180 to get the other angle. The same is true for these pairs, and these. You can get all of those and they add up to equal 180 degrees. The very last property of the parallelogram, let me erase some of this inside of here. Did I erase too much here? That's okay. We'll fix it. So, let's see. We will just draw a new line here. So we still kind of have our parallelogram. The last property is that diagonals bisect each other. So a diagonal goes from one vertex to the opposite. So a parallelogram has two diagonals. It says that these diagonals bisect each other, meaning that they cut each other into two equal parts. So this would equal this side, and this side would equal this side. Okay, so let's do some examples following these properties of parallelograms. So this is our first example. This right here is supposed to be 68 degrees. If we see this picture, there's some things that we can find out. We can find out all of the angles within this picture and the sides. So this side actually is supposed to say 8. Draw that on here. This side is 8. So if we know that this side is 8, then we know that the opposite side is going to be 8 because opposite sides are congruent. And if we know the top from A to B is 15, then from D to C is going to be 15. Then we also said that opposite angles are congruent. So if we know that angle D is 68 degrees, then we know angle B is 68 degrees. So the only things missing are angle A and angle C. And to find those, we know from our property that consecutive angles are supplementary. So we can say that angle A plus angle D would equal 180 degrees. So if you just take 180 and subtract 68 degrees, you will get that angle A is 112 degrees. So angle A is 112. And if we know that angle A is 112, then we also know that angle C is 112 because the opposite angles are congruent. Okay? Kind of a simple example here. Let's try another one. So this one has diagonals involved. So we can fill in as much as we know about this picture. Okay? First of all, we know opposite sides are congruent. So if we know from R to S is 27, we know from U to T is going to be 27. And if we know from R to U is 18, then S to T is going to be 18, right? And then if we know that from U to V is 7, then from V to S is 7. Correct? So the only things left are these last two pieces right here, which we know this one is going to be congruent to this one, right? So let's say it tells you that the whole thing, R to T, equals 30. If we know from R, from this point to this point, that diagonal is 30, we can find RV by dividing it by 2. So RV would be 15, and VT would be 15. So this is kind of an example without angles, just with sides and finding their lengths. So let's do one that has angles included. So let's do this problem here. So it gives us that this angle, this tiny angle is 21 degrees and the other angle is 71 degrees. And let's say that it also gives us angle FED equals 134 degrees. It's supposed to be 4. Okay, so if FED is 134 degrees, that means that this entire angle E is 134 degrees. So if we wanted to find this angle right here, all we would have to do is subtract 71 from 134 degrees. So 134 minus 71, let's see, minus 71 would give us 63, correct? 63. Let's write that a little better here. 63. So we have those angles. So we are given this other angle over here. Just part of it is 21. So to find the entire angle F, we could take 180 and subtract 134 because we know consecutive angles are supplementary. Let's rewrite that 4 here. Well, you get the idea. Okay. So 180 minus 134 is 46. So this entire angle over here is 46 degrees. So we can find this angle right here, let's see, this angle right here by subtracting 46 minus 21. So 46 minus 21, let's see, would give us 25, right? So this angle right here is 25. So to find the other missing angles, we have to use the property of alternate interior angles. So if we know, let's say we just did that that angle is 25, then we know up here that this little angle is going to be 25. Alternate interior, opposite side, opposite vertice. And if we know that this angle right here is 21, then we know this angle right here is going to be 21. 21. Then same thing for this vertice. So if we know that this is 63, then we know this angle right here, up here, is going to be 63. Okay, and then if we know this angle is 71, then we know this angle up here is going to be 71. Okay, that's kind of a quick overview of parallelograms. Try the problems that are in your book and contact me if you have any questions for sure. Let me know. Thanks, guys.